everybody, it's Tricia the Knitting Lady. I hope my heat coming on in the background isn't too loud. Well, I'll find out when I play this back. Did you miss me yesterday? I just had a busy day, and today I'm going to try to get this done because I have to work yet. It was busy. Well, everybody's life is busy. It's not just mine. So I'm behind on my trivia and my affirmations. Yesterday was the 27th, and it was Mozart's birthday. Yes, he was born in 1756 and died in 1791. He died at the age of 35. He accomplished a lot in those 35 years. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Amadeus, but that talked about his life. I thought that was a really good movie. Tom, I don't know how you say his last name, Hulce, Hulse. I don't even think he's around much anymore acting. In fact, I should have looked that up. But talked about his rivalry. I can't even talk. See? See, you might have missed me a day, but I still can't talk. His rivalry with Salinger. So, yes, that was his birthday yesterday, and so was Steve Wynn, who was born in 1942. He has the Wynn Casino, the Wynn Hotels. I haven't heard much from him either. And yesterday, they talked about on that day in 1876, Lieutenant Colonel George A. Custer made his last stand at the Battle of Bighorn. Custer was a military officer who rose to prominence in the American Civil War. Then he was dispatched to the West to fight in the American Indian Wars. He was appointed Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. 7th Cavalry Regiment. So that was it. Oh, I forgot to mention that the piece from Mozart was from a little night music. And don't ask me to say it in German, because if you think I can't speak English, my German is even worse. Let me read the affirmation for yesterday. It was about, okay, let me see, spreading joy. Maybe I spreaded some joy by not making a video. Oh, I'm so sarcastic, aren't I? Anyway, the best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. And that's by Mark Twain. Always liked Mark Twain. When we help others cope with their problems, it somehow makes ours less pressing. The advice we give, count your blessings, this too will pass. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Can't help but affect our own thinking. If we distract others from whatever it is that's weighing on them, then we'll be distracted from our own burdens as well. Do you know someone who's struggling? What can I do to help? And the affirmation for today is about charity. In charity, there is no excess, by Sir Francis Bacon. As the saying goes, give until it hurts. But true selfless giving of ourselves as well as our possessions should never hurt. The more we freely and willingly give to others, the more we give to ourselves. I will offer myself in some way that is helpful to others without resenting the time or effort it takes. But I was brought up in a household that believed in charity begins at home. So my first priority is to give to my family and friends, and then to others. I don't readily just give to strangers. You know, I might give some things to the Salvation Army, but I find with family and friends, a lot of times afterwards, I don't have anything else to give. You know, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that's the way it is. And the affirmation for tomorrow, which is the 29th, is courage. Courage is doing what you're afraid to do. There can be no courage unless you're scared. And that's by Eddie Rickenbacker, and he was a famous pilot. Some of us seem to never fear failure, but do we hide our fear really well? Others of us acknowledge our fear even when doing so may feel embarrassing. We may be afraid of falling flat on our faces, but we stand up straight and do our best. It's okay for me to be afraid. I can admit this to myself and others and still tackle the things that frighten me. And I'm sure all of you have something that scares them a bit. I know I do. You know, sometimes even tackling something new scares me. But you go ahead and push forward. So yesterday, the 27th of January, J.D. Salinger, the reclusive writer, died in 2010. He wrote Catcher in the Rye, and he died in Cornish, New Hampshire, at the age of 91. Usually, there's some facts about him. Usually, an author expects to be made to make minor changes when he submits something for publication. You know, some editing. Oh, excuse me. But Salinger refused to do that. When he submitted Catcher in the Rye for publication, he did not allow any editing of that manuscript. So he refused to do that. He waited for publication of Catcher in the Rye until he found a publisher who would publish it as is. Eventually, it was released by Little Brown and Company, sold over 65 million copies. I've mentioned in a previous video that I've read the book. I think a lot of people read the book. I was required to read it in school. I personally never got the importance of that book. And Sherry Kay loves crocheting yarn, and I'm still having problems showing how to connect the YouTube, you know, the YouTube URL and post it in my comments. So I will post her name down below. And if you just type in Sherry Kay Loves Yarn and Crochet, you'll be able to find her. She had said as a comment in a previous video that she met J.D. Salinger. Said he was very nice, so that's good. He was very reclusive, though. He only gave one interview, and that was to a local high school paper, the Claremont Daily Eagle, after he moved to New Hampshire. When he saw it was published on the front page, he felt betrayed. He didn't want that attention. He built a high fence surrounding his property. The New Yorker magazine had published several of his short stories, but refused to publish an excerpt from Catcher in the Rye because they found the characters were unbelievable. Whatever. You just never know. So in 1941, 22-year-old Salinger dated Una O'Neill, a 16-year-old who was the daughter of Eugene O'Neill, the famous playwright. They broke up because Salinger went to fight in the war. And Una moved to California and met Charlie Chaplin and became his fourth wife. Salinger read about it in the paper and wrote a scathing letter to Una about her marriage. So he was not happy about that. Salinger had his own idiosyncrasies like we all do. Did you ever see the movie Finding Forrester? It starred Sean Connery, and the black teenager in it was Jamal Wallace was the character's name. He was played by Rob Brown. Anyway, the teenager befriended a reclusive writer, and that writer's name was William Forrester, played by Sean Connery. Forrester helps to refine Jamal's writing skills. And the film critics have compared the character Forrester to J.D. Salinger. And Sean Connery came out later and did say it was based a little bit on J.D. Salinger. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. If you enjoy learning about writing and writing skills, it's very good. And I've also finished the book Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. I saw the movie. The movie's on Netflix. I haven't completely finished the book, but there should be more details in the book than there were in the movie. But I could relate to some of that. He grew up, J.D. Vance grew up in a very dysfunctional household. And so did I. Some of it was painful to watch. I'll be honest with you. Some of that stuff I cannot watch when it talks about alcoholic or drug-addicted people. And I'm not going to get too much into detail, but some of it is like, I don't want to see this. I lived this. I don't want to see it. But there was one part where he goes to a dinner. He's in Yale Law School, and he has to go to dinner to meet some of the head of the law firms because he wants to get an internship. And they're sitting there, you know, fine dinner. Now, that I can do. My mother worked for very wealthy people before she became a nurse. And she taught us how to set a table like that with all the forks and all the spoons and everything else. And I know how to do that. In fact, our dinners were like that. Despite everything, the table was always properly set. But we did not learn about other finer things in life. And in one clip in the movie, they ask him what wine he wants. It's a choice between two white wines. And he doesn't know. And to be honest with you, when I first started learning about wine or heard about the different kinds of wine, I didn't know either. And I'm still not very good at it. My son is more knowledgeable about wine. So he will show me some things or teach me some things. And I know you should drink white wine with fish and red wine with meat. And I often mix them up. Because I don't like the drier wines, and a lot of the white wines are drier. But I don't want to get the whole thing about wine because I honestly don't know much about it. So if anybody wants to give me an education, I would appreciate it. I know more about beer. I grew up around bars and, you know, where you went and you had beer. And whiskeys. My father always drank whiskey as well. So I know about the different kinds of whiskeys. But don't ask me about different kinds of wine. It's just funny. I was watching that and I go, I can relate to that. Except, like I said, I know how to set a table like that. You know, and what to do if I go out to dinner like that, which you know, it's really not as hard. Like you go out, the outward in, you know, but it's just funny. What else? Today's the 28th. It's the birthday of Alan Alda. He was born in 1936. Remember him from MASH, the TV show MASH. And 2.5 times more Barbies are sold every year than babies are born in the United States. And our unfortunate, tragic anniversary today as well. The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 73 seconds after takeoff from Cape Canaveral, killing all 7 crew members aboard. I remember that day. I was at work, and someone came in and said, the spacecraft just blew up. And we were like all in shock, like, what? Yep, unfortunately. And did you know, federal, listen to me, Franklin. I see the word F and I just make up words. The president, former president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, had a fear of the number 13. He refused to travel on the 13th day of the month, and he never held a dinner with 13 guests. See, and I have the opposite. I like the number 13. And Friday the 13th, I always feel like it's a lucky day. I won't walk under ladders, though, but that's a safety thing. I can see why people don't walk under ladders. That's about it. I don't have anything else. I'm going to give a shout out to LadybirD with the D at the end. She had said to me I should do my stand-up, do a video of my stand-up. And maybe I will. It's just, I'm in the middle of tax season, or like I explained before, it's the start of tax season, and it's getting crazy. Next week I'll be working a lot of hours, even though they're not accepting returns. The IRS is not opening accepting returns till the 12th of February. We're still going to have a busy week. So, craziness. It's just craziness. So, I hope everybody's doing fine, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Bye.